I'm glad that cut out before I could get started. I gotta do invites again, cause gotta go through the process again. Hopefully. Give y'all a couple minutes to get back in here. I hope the brother that just messaged me watching the live, because he about to find out what all this is about. Now, I'm not going to bother the rosters right now. I'm not going to hurt their feelings and tell them who the real is. But I'm going to put this on the flow, do a couple more invites, because I already did them on the last one, so I'm going to go here like this. Alright, I want to make sure I get certain people in here. Alright, so here we go. Let's get into the proceedings. So, I'm going to flip my camera around, and I'm going to let y'all see what I'm looking at over here on my screen. So, look at here. This is an old picture of Moors. Right here. Right? This is Noble Drew Ali's Moorish Science Temple of America. These are your righteous Moors. These are the ones that was working with Marcus Garvey, Elijah Muhammad, and others to break the tyranny. These. Now, I accidentally shut the page down. I'm going to show you what we had to do to get the dog in this Moorish fight. Now, originally, it was called the Moorish Zionist Temple, right? Now, we go through here, click on images, and you go here. Right here you have your, right there say Moorish Zionist Temple. Now, who is the Zionist Moors, and what's the difference in Noble Drew Ali Islamic Moors? That's the million-dollar question. Because you notice, Noble Drew Ali used a 5-point star, but they use a 6-point star. If you look, you can see their 6-point star right here. So, they use a 6, Noble Drew Ali used a 5. Now, the clue is the same place I found it in reference to my mother as a vice lord when it said an angel came and took the key away. Noble Drew Ali went through the adept chambers of these people in order to get a particular key to unlocking the trap. These were the ones who wrote a very famous document called Protocols. Not these specific ones, but the ones behind it. Now, I want to show y'all a little bit about protocols. In here, if you look at this picture, you see this Viking dude, and the caption says, "An Aryan breaks the chains of the Jew and the Freemason that held him captive." Drawing of a 1897 in a book by Augustin Joseph Joquet in France. Now, the first thing that it looked like, from what their description is, that this Aryan is breaking the chains from them. Right? So this is how they mislead you in plain sight. Watch this. Look where the chain was at. Now I told y'all I had Vikings and Norsemen. Look at the hat. These are Templars fighting to keep these rotten bastards right here from keeping us in perpetual servitude. That's what this is actually taking place. Now look, you see right here is a 5-point star with a G in the middle, right? A 5-point star with a G in the middle. Now look, Boaz, Joaquin. See the broken temple? You see the broken temple? Remember the story of Samson, right? When his locks grew back? Look. Look. This is what made them kill Jacques de Molay, my Templar. Because he fighting to guard the Holy Grail, the holy bloodline of the royal families. Because they know that once a certain could come, the gig is up. Now I want y'all to see, this is, look. Now they told y'all that Samson, when he asked for forgiveness and was forgiven, his locks grew back and he brought down the pillars of the temple. Now, this is a Masonic metaphor. What do it mean? These pillars are representative of the man. The man's supposed to be straight up the middle, upright, right? Off of his mother's line and his father's line. The enmity, see it, between his seed and her seed. This is the break. Now look who's defending us against these tyrants. These are what you call Khazarians. We got to get into that in a minute. But the Khazarians are Moors. The Khazarians are Moors. They sprang out of the Prussian Empire as Caucasians. They half-breeds between the indigenous people of the earth and those what was developed in Babylon using genetic engineering. All right, so now look, they telling you here the Aryan race is now an outdated term that emerged in the period of the late 19th century and mid 20th century to describe people of Indo-European heritage as a racial group. Right? Say it right here. Now, that's a goddamn lie, because the Aryan are nobles of India. Now watch. If I go over here and click on my computer, and I put Aryan in, and I go to images, you see, these are the people of India. So why do they call themselves Aryan is the question, right? Because these people gave her the royal bloodline to clean Europe up, as with every other royal bloodline. So when they call themselves Aryan, this is why they call themselves Aryan when they are actually Indo or Neo, they Neo-European. Neo mean new. So when you talk about your neo-conservatives, your neocons, that means your new conservatives. So the neo-European is calling himself an Aryan for this reason. Because the ones that stayed in the Scandinavian region with the blonde hair and the blue eyes got the Aryan straight hair blood from these people, which makes them call themselves Aryan. They amalgamated with the group of people of India that was the royal families, but they don't look like this. It was the mulattoes of them, just in the top right now. The ones that's light at the top are the mulattoes. The originals that these came from, mixed with the Scandinavian, they are called Dravidians. And they are the true royal family of India. So when I go to my computer over here, I type in Dravidians, you need to see what they look like. These are your Dravidians. These people. And this ain't even all of them. You see, look. Right here, it look like Australian almost. You see? Nappy hair. You see? It was these people, right, that gave their royal blood to another group of people called Scandinavian. And this is what they looked at like. They didn't have a recovery factor or clotting factor. They suffered from hemophilia, so that's why they needed the royal blood to clean it up. So the Scandinavian type that you see here allowed them to perpetually keep the aquiline features even when their skin get a little darker. So they gave the royal blood in order to clean that shit up. Now, we get back to the Moors. I don't want to stay on this too long, but I want to show y'all what's taking place in Europe to develop the bloodlines that we call Europeans today, and why they have so many different textures of hair and so many different colors of hair and eyes. It's because all of the royal families contributed to clean that shit up. So we can all be treated the same at the end when I run these imposters I'm about to show y'all out. Right? So now, let's get back to these. Now, this is Noble Drew Ali's Moorish Science Temple of America. Right? He lost his life to those other people that call themselves Moors using law enforcement. Right? They use law enforcement, and that's why back here, let's go back for a minute. Go back. I'm going to show y'all this again in that picture. Here. Now, look. Now, notice the Jewish star is a 6-point star. I want y'all to see this. You see that 5-point star there? That's the police. You see the G in the middle? That's the police, or what we call the blue wall. I need y'all to, because this goes back to what me and the brother Kareem was on yesterday. The blue wall is controlled by these people right here. The imposter Mason, right? And the fake Khazarian so-called Jew, the satanic Jew. Right? Who live by the Talmud and the Mishnah, but he hold the Torah up as if that was the agenda. It's deception. This is who's behind the deception. Right? So their law enforcement is up there. Now you see the 5-point star. But the Jewish have a 6-point star. Right? Now watch this. We're going to go back. Here, Noble Drew Ali used the 5-point star because the Moorish Order of the Round Table, I mean, not the Order of the Round Table, but the Moorish Zionist Jews used the 6. But now look this. The Moorish Science Temple of America was incorporated in Illinois' Religious Corporation Act 805 ILCS 110. Timothy Drew known to his members as Prophet Noble Drew Ali, founded the Moorish Science Temple of America in 1913 in Newark, New Jersey. Right? And that's a picture of Newark. A booming industrial city. After some difficulties, now pay attention right here, people. It says after some difficulties, Ali moved to Chicago, right here, my hometown, establishing a center there, you see it, a training center, as well as temples in other major cities. The movement expanded rapidly during the late 1920s. All this can be verified by Moors. The quick expansion of the Moorish Science Temple arose in large part from search for identity and context among black Americans at the time of the Great Migration. Pay attention to this. Think Moses sojourning. This is the Trail of Tears. All this rolled into one. To northern and midwestern cities as they became an urbanized people. Talking about the Moors. Now, first thing that you notice, they became, or they were becoming, an urbanized people. If they were not urbanized, living in New Jersey, living in Chicago, what were they? They were tribalized. They hadn't been assimilated under Noble Drew Ali totally into the American system that was trapping the up-and-coming European. Right? Now, so these were the righteous Moors under Noble Drew Ali, but something happened. Something happened at the end, right, when they had a war between Moors, because the Moorish Zionist Temple was trying to reclaim what Noble Drew Ali had securely locked away in the adept chambers. It led to a war. It led to a war in the streets of Detroit, Chicago, and New Jersey. All of it is documented in newspaper reports from the local areas. I'm going to pull up one of the most popular ones that we know about. But this was part of the recovery process because this was a self-sacrifice. This is called the Voodoo Cult of Islam Murder. Now, it goes in, right? Head of cult admits killing. Says unbelievers were sacrificed to the guys of his order. Wife also under arrest, right? And then it goes into this is all part of what I was just talking about. It's easy to find information. All right, now, who are the righteous Moors right now? Who gonna tell us the fucking truth? I'm gonna show you. Here. The Moorish Order of the Round Table under Tariq Bey. He gonna tell you the truth. He ain't gonna cover it up. He ain't gonna conceal it. He gonna flat out tell you what it is with this contract shit. This is some of his work. Right? It's not hard to find. Look him up. Moorish Order of the Round Table. And he gonna tell you. He got videos on YouTube. Right? So now, if these the righteous Moors, how did the Moors sell us out would become the next question. So as I use these, I'm going to delete them so I can count these down better. All right, here. Now this on the surface, black conquistadors. Remember yesterday I was saying it was Moorish conquistadors that sold us out. Right? They was greedy. That's what they got greedy. So right here, it say black conquistadors, right? It say armed Africans and early Spanish American, right? Now they would have you believing that they talking about some slaves getting armed against the slave owner, but this is not the case. This is the war. I'm showing you where they was fighting the war at. This is the 1500s though, but the war started before this. You can go all the way back to when they was kicked out of Spain, right? And I'm going to show you that in a minute. It say right here, the first Africans from Spain were known as Ladinos, or Hispanicized Africans, and were soldiers, servants, settlers, and slaves. They began to arrive in the Americas as early as the 15th century. Many auxiliaries, those are military contingents, now pay attention, to the Spanish and the Portuguese. Both of these are controlled by the Moorish Empire. These were both Moors. This is what y'all not getting. The Spaniards were Moors, the Portuguese was Moors, right? And I told y'all that Europe was not developed enough. We're going to show y'all how these people used the European as the pawn. Now, as Matthew Restall states, from the very onset of Spanish activity in the Americas, Africans were present both as voluntary expeditionaries and as involuntary colonists. Remember, I told y'all they had prison colonies set up over here, and they was bringing them over here as POWs so that they can continue to make the conquest into the continent of Africa in order to sack the wealth. Now, many people of African descent intentionally saw passage to the New World. Now, notice it don't just say African, it say many people of African descent initially saw passage to the New World as a means of bettering their social economic position. Now, nobody in Africa was trying to change their socioeconomic condition. So you have to identify at the time frame of the 15th century. I'm going to show you more about it in a minute. But you got to know who didn't have a place to go. Who was stranded? Because that's the only reason why you have to relocate. Africans live off the fat of the land. They don't have to ever relocate. Wherever they go, they're at home. Think, people. Now, it's a lander's note. Given their numbers and role in Spanish port cities like Seville and their generally depressed economic conditions, it is not surprising that both free and enslaved Africans hopped to improve their lots by crossing the Atlantic on the earliest voyages of exploration and conquest. You can't make this fucking shit up. You can't make this fucking shit. I'm showing these Moors. These motherfuckers is Moors, right? I'm going to show you where they came from, right? So now, you see right here, black conquistadors, they was displaced because it's telling you here they was better in their social and economic position. Africans don't do that. That's not African way. Whoever these people are imposters. They stranded. I'm going to show you. I'm going to clear this one out. I'm going to keep going. Here. Now notice this. The fall of Granada, which was the fall of the Spanish Moors in 1492, saw the end of the Muslim presence in Andalusia, right? This is their presence. This is when they got kicked out of Europe. This is what, 1492, think, people, watch. Moors got kicked out of Europe, out of Spain. Look, this event had a global impact, giving impetus to the Spanish conquest of the New World, inspired by the triumph over Muslims, which they understood as enjoying God's blessing. They the goddamn devil. This is the Moors I'm talking about. I ain't talking about the ones that Noble Drew Ali raised up in righteousness. I ain't talking about the ones that he passed on to Elijah Muhammad, or that worked together with Marcus Garvey and Du Bois. I'm talking about these. Now watch this. Watch this. Moors. These conquistadors. Watch. About half were mulatto, the other half were black slaves, and there were a few free blacks. They were all born in either Portugal, Moors, Spain, Moors, or Morocco, Moors. No such thing as northwest of Mexico. Only one was Afro-native, born in a Spanish territory, right? So now, all these are Moors. They named 3 distinct people. They show 3 distinct tribal cloaks. 3 distinct patterning difference on purpose. 3 distinct different positioning. All these are royalty of Moorish empires. These are princes. They're not kings yet. They're trying to establish an empire. Watch what happens. Okay, now look. This is a reference. This is a reference. The mighty Moorish Empire of North Africa is the reference. Look at the years. Because you got to remember, Nicene Council was 325 AD. Right? The Nicene Council. The second Nicene Council was in 327. They had another one around 330 something. And then here, the Moors rise to power. Who put the Pope there? Pay attention, people. Now, the Moors here fell in 1492. This is Rome, people. This is the real Roman army, the false Moors, right? Now, look, Esteban the Moor, the black conquistador. I'm not making this shit up. They can think I'm making, look, and I can scroll down and show you more of them. More black conquistadors. More of them. Right? So now look at the uniforms, people. When they told you the South lost to the Redcoats. Look, the South lost to the Redcoats. The Confederates were the gray coats, but they was dirty. White coats. The white coats. These motherfuckers can't have shit from me. I'm the baddest motherfucker ever born. We about to put this shit on the floor today. Because the righteous Moors shouldn't suffer with them wicked bastards hide behind all these people they've been using as weaponized enemies against one another. Now watch this. Moorish Spaniard king. A Moorish Spaniard king. Here's his story. Here's his name. I'm not making this shit up. His name is Matapa Matope. Matapa means emperor. He was a conquistador of Spain. They lost the war. Got ran out of Spain and came over here and fucked us. I'm showing it. Look. History of Moorish Spain. Watch this, y'all. Watch this. Now, this from 711 and 997. It said the Moors derived from Latin Mauri, a name for the Berber tribes. Now, this is going to become important for y'all to understand where these Moors come from. Berbers come from North Africa, from Libya, Tunis, into northern Morocco. Living in the Romana Mauritania, modern-day Algeria and Morocco. This is where your Berbers come from. These are the same Moors, but watch this when I put in. Watch what Berbers look like now. Pay attention. They Moors. They mulattoes. You can't make this shit up. This is them. Berbers, mulattoes, half-breed Moors. This is what they look like. So y'all see, I'm not telling y'all nothing I can't prove. Look, they even got some dark ones. Look here. Berbers. All shades, just like Americans or Brazilians, right? Now watch this. Let's go back. Kill that noise. Go back over here. Right here. Now, it has no ethnographic meaning. That means that the term Berber or Moor doesn't mean anything to do with ethnicity, because you cannot use the term Moor to determine ethnicity, meaning, but can be used to refer to all Muslims, Berber, or Arab who conquer the Iberian Peninsula. These Moors, who were religious fanatics, arrived in Spain in the year 711. Critical that you remember that number. It's going to come up with 911. And thus began a period of history which shaped Iberia differently than the rest of Europe as a land adapted to a new religion, language, and culture. Right? Now, as you go down, it tells you more about them. I'm not going to go more into this, but this is this is the Spanish Fiesta page, History of Moorish Spain. Now watch this. This is how they got, this is their conquest of Europe. They sold Hannibal out. They sold Hannibal out in order, because Rome was done with, right? So they implanted a guy in the Senate in Carthage to rally everybody to stab Hannibal in the back. This is your motherfucking Brutus Caesar story right here. These motherfuckers stabbed us in the back. Watch this. After Cana, Hannibal won every other engagement in Italy, but they were all minor actions which gained no further ground. In the meantime, his brother Hasdrubal, who had taken command of the Carthaginian forces in Spain, had been killed and his army dispersed by Scipio, meaning Scipio Africanus, which is not who Africa named after, by the way. All of the advancements Hannibal had achieved for the Carthaginian cause in Spain were lost, and when Scipio invaded North Africa from Sicily in 205, Hannibal was called home, thus losing all ground in Italy. At the Battle of Zama in 202 BCE, now look, this is before the Nicene Council, and this is Rome's march. This is the struggle for Rome, which is the impostor to Greece, to take power over another African nation. And this is when they decided to start implementing the divide and conquer method of white supremacy, right? 202 BC, that's before Christian era, right? So that's like 500 years before the Nicene Council. Hannibal's forces were defeated by Scipio Africanus, and Carthage fell to Rome. Now you got to pay attention. Although a brilliant strategist in general, Hannibal was finally defeated, not on the field, but by the government whose interests he had fought for. Carthage lost the Second Punic War and was indebted to Rome for the next 50 years. All this is coded. I ain't going to break the code of it right now, but all of this is coded. The 50 years, the 711, the 202, the 146, the 140, all this is code. After the Third Punic War, brought about by this loss, the treaty that had signed Carthage again defeated was destroyed by Romans. Now, that's how you end up with your treaty of peace and friendship, the same method, different time frame. Watch this. Now look, this is supposed to be Moors. Look at how they paint them. Now watch this one. I gotta highlight this to be able to read it. This talking about now check out what it say. Josiah, the family of Timothy Drew, were members of the Moorish Zionist Temple in Brooklyn, New York, which was formed in 1889. Now look, he went from growing up in the Zionist Temple in Brooklyn, New York. But how is that possible? Oh, no. That's right. Which was formed in 1889. Some books date this to 1899. This is code by Rabbi Leon Richelieu. The congregation of the Moorish Zionist Temple of the Moorish Jews. Now notice it say Moorish Jews in Harlem, 1929. Rabbi Israel ben Newman wearing the shawl. President Mordecai Herman on his right. Rabbi Mordecai Herman was a member of Marcus Garvey's Universal Negro Improvement Association, UNIA. In 1921, Mordecai Herman reformed the Moorish Zionist Temple, aka Cushing Congregation in Harlem, New York, with affiliate branches in Newark, New Jersey, and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Rabbi Arnold Josiah Ford later rejoined Rabbi Samuel Valentine and Rabbi Mordecai Herman. Rabbi Ford and Rabbi Samuel Valentine split in 1924. Now, Noble Drew Ali started the Moorish Science Temple in 1913, but in this year, it went from the Moorish Temple of Science to the Moorish Science Temple of America, a civics organization, in this year. Rabbi Ford started the Beth B'nai Abraham. Ford included elements of Islam in his practice, writing prayers to Allah and observing Ramadan. His movement was Moorish, Israelite, Islamic, free, Masonic in nature.